Hi there guys, this is DSNY Newscast, I'm Jack, and today's going to be a slightly different type of video, so go ahead and subscribe down below, and today we're going to try and take a stab at understanding the Marvel licensing agreement when it comes to Disney parks, and what we can expect in the future years from Disney with Marvel. When Disney acquired Marvel back in 2009 and Bob Iger paid $4 billion for Marvel, which is incidentally Bob Iger's magical acquisition number which he acquired Lucasfilm for as well, us Disney fans imagined an amazing superhero-filled park. However, all of our dreams were dashed when we learned about this dreaded thing called the Marvel Licensing Agreement that brings in all of the different legalities surrounding the Marvel Agreement and Universal. Now, we're 8 years on from the acquisition back in 2009, and we're only now just getting our very first Marvel attraction inside one of the Disney parks in the United States, which is Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, and it will be opening on May 27th. But trust me, when you learn about this Marvel theme park agreement, you'll learn to hate it as much as I do already. Not just because I've had to research it, but because it really does deprive us all of better theme park experiences inside of Disney parks. First off, why does this agreement even exist? Well, back in 1994, way back in the 1990s, Universal Studios Park was really struggling to find any sort of viable intellectual property that they could get their hands on, so therefore they could bring these attractions into their parks and try and bring more guests to their park at the same time. And by the way, they still are, except for the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I mean, come on, Dr. Seuss Land. This agreement gave the Universal Studios Park the rights to use any of the Marvel comic book characters in any theme park attractions and entertainment that they wanted. But now we've got that out of the way, now let's discuss how this impacts Disney and Universal. So this agreement cites specifically that the Mississippi River is the dividing line that they're going to use right down the United States to split up East and West Coast in America. You'd think that this agreement was drawn up in the 1800s or something. But anyways, the Mississippi is where this agreement gets muddy. Speaking of which,
when the sun goes down, the tide goes out, the people gather round and they all begin to shout, just as happy as a cow chewing on a cud when the people beat the feet on the Mississippi mud.
Anyway, so the agreement makes perfectly clear that if Universal are using any family of comic book characters from the Marvel comic books, they cannot be used in any other Disney park, or any other park for that matter, within 60 miles of where they're currently used. So that means that we're definitely not going to see any Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, or Spider-Man being used at Walt Disney World. So there's a big no to that to begin with. But this is where Disney are really screwed on the East Coast when it comes to Walt Disney World and Marvel theme park attractions. As there is something called the Marvel Action Universe that specifically means that Disney cannot use any Marvel branding in any theme park attraction or entertainment in Walt Disney World. And not just that, they can't even create any experience that could even be described as a ride of any sort. So how did Disney get around this? Well, for instance, when they brought the Avengers movie preview to Disney's Hollywood Studios, they didn't have any sort of special effects within the actual preview itself like they did over in Disneyland. Instead, they just kept it as a movie promotional preview. And recently, we've seen that Disney's Hollywood Studios has got a Guardians of the Galaxy meet and greet with Star-Lord and Baby Groot. But what you'll see there is that they're specifically saying that it's only Guardians of the Galaxy. They're not using the word Marvel anywhere near that attraction. So that means that Walt Disney World have truly got their hands tied when it comes to Marvel and Walt Disney World, as the use of the term families within the agreement basically means that any character that has had any sort of crossover with any one of those families of characters, Fantastic Four, Avengers, X-Men or Spider-Man, basically means that they can't be used within a Disney park. And considering that we've got Avengers Infinity War coming up soon, it really does create a grey area for when the Guardians of the Galaxy are brought into Avengers Infinity War. Now, what does this mean for Disneyland Resort over in California? Well, we've had the Superhero HQ at Disneyland, and we've also got Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout opening on May 27th over at Disney California Adventure Park. But what's the key thing in both of those that we don't see? And we don't see the word Marvel being used anywhere in the marketing promotional material or even in the names of the attractions themselves. However, the Marvel Action Universe does not apply west of the Mississippi River, so they can use any of the characters that they want in Disneyland and Disney California Adventure Park, but they cannot use the word Marvel anywhere. So let's say that Disney do end up bringing a Marvel themed land to Disney California Adventure Park, which is more than likely what they're going to do and maybe even announce at D23 Expo this July. They wouldn't be able to specifically call it Marvel Land. They'd have to call it something else like Comic Book Courtyard or the Superhero Expo. I know they're terrible names. Or they could opt for something out of the actual movies themselves like Xandar from Guardians of the Galaxy or Hell's Kitchen from the Netflix shows. Maybe even just call it the multiverse, and then they can bring in all of the different Marvel characters all into one section of the park. So I hear you ask, is there any way possible that Disney could reclaim control of these different Marvel characters and also the Marvel Action Universe? Well, it is cited in the actual agreement itself that if any one of the Marvel properties inside of the Universal Studios park is misrepresented or underutilized or is not receiving the suitable care and investment in that Marvel intellectual property, then the whole contract for that one family of characters ceases to be relevant. So short of Bob Iger and Bob Chapek sneaking into Universal Studios and taking down some of the Marvel attractions inside the Universal Studios park, well, Universal would have to do something pretty dire to actually be in breach of the contract. But who knows, maybe Bob Iger will offer up another $4 billion to acquire the rest of the Marvel Action Universe within the agreement, so therefore we can see some Marvel themed lands being brought to both Disneyland and also Walt Disney World in the not so distant future. But that's it for today. Go ahead and share this video to as many Disney friends as you know, so therefore they can learn what this different Marvel attraction agreement actually means. Also, go ahead and subscribe down below. Give this video a huge thumbs up as it helps other Disney fans discover these videos. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.
Blue sky, please tell us why you had to hide.